troubles as a woman who was married for over a decade to a white man.
Who is Irene Yvette? Irene Yvette is an internet personality that makes videos about social issues, primarily in the black community. She regularly chastises black men for their sexual choices in uncouth or unattractive white women. She regularly talks about how black men are a lost cause. I suspect that she is doing this because she knows black men in particular are easily manipulated and they can be shamed into dating a woman with a tumultuous past such as herself. She has aligned herself with other known black male haters such as Cynthia G, Nyla Says, and others. I suspect that this was done primarily to gain some traction for her YouTube channel and for her to gain an audience faster than she would on her own. She also weaponizes her relatively somewhat attractive body to draw in thirsty black men that are sexually frustrated with black women's social and sexual choices. She plays on men's emotions to get a certain reaction. For example, take a look at her video calling out the MGTOW community. She did it to get a certain reaction from people, and she got what she wanted. She appears to be in her 40s and over the hill and far past her prime. However, black men are at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to getting attractive women, and she takes advantage of that and uses it to good effect. Now, what is her exact past? Well, Irene Yvette is an ex-swirler slash divester that when she was in her twilight years and her sexual prime, she married a white man and had biracial children, which is what a lot of these other so-called pro-black YouTubers do. She then went off to marry a black man after she had spent her sexual prime with a white man. However, you see, the problem is that she talks pro-black, but she has a history of sleeping white. It's not necessarily a problem that she dated or married a white man. The problem is the hypocrisy. Now, she regularly talks about on her channel about how black men are the scum of the earth and they're self-haters for marrying out of their race, but she has done the exact same thing she complains about on her channel. Now, why do you guys think that she's coming back to the black community after this white man that she was married to for a decade divorced her? Well, you see, typically people from different cultural backgrounds, when they get married, or even when black women get married, black women tend to put up with a lot in a marriage just to kind of keep the marriage together, but not with a black man. When it's a black man, they will be quick to leave the marriage in a second. With one sign of trouble, they leave, they run away, and they say, I'm done with this marriage, bye. They divorce, they say bye, whatever. And then they're quick to disown a black man, but they're not quick to disown a white man. So, I think it kind of speaks to the psychology of black women that they're willing to kind of put up with a lot from a different race, but their own race, they're kind of like hesitant, less willing to trust a black man than a white. They're more likely to trust white men than black men, which I think is kind of interesting, but it also speaks to the dynamic of the black fathers not really being there for their children, but at the same time, it's kind of like the black mother has kind of drove them away. So, there's a lot of factors that go into black women's psychology in dating white men, but I think a lot of it is self-hate. Now, she talks on her channel regularly about how black men are self-haters and blah, 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 and she does attach herself to a very famous, well, no, she's not necessarily a very famous YouTuber. She's small time if you look at the big picture, but Cynthia G has created a very hostile environment for black men and black women. I think she's kind of destroying a lot of people's relationships because she's giving black women a sense of, she's kind of giving them a false sense of reality, because when they go out there in the dating world, most people are more likely to stay within their own race. You see, the thing is, white women are not gonna just let black women come out there and take their men. That's not gonna happen. Typically, when black women go out and get a white man, he's typically the lowest of the low in terms of the social ladder, in terms of earning potential. The black woman is typically the one that has the money and has herself together. She's more likely to date a homeless white man than she is to date a black man that's making six figures. You see, the thing is, the only reason she's with the guy is because of the skin color. Now, she says in the video, oh no, it's
y'all. But I just never thought, oh, I'm married to a white guy. Do you know what I mean? He's from New York. So I think where we're from, like, people just date who they want to date. And when you go outside, like, everybody looks different. There's not like huge groups of black people or huge groups of white people or huge groups of...
It's not about skin color. I don't care about that. The only thing I care about is the character, but that's not true. That's not necessarily true. They say character over color, but that's not true. Because take aside the fact that most people are willing to stay within their own race, which is typically the way it works. Let's take that out of the equation for a second. What do they have? Because the majority of white men are not going to date black women. They're not going to get the best of the other races. They're just not. And then so what is the solution? Well, there is no solution. I think that in a couple hundred years, the black race is going to go extinct in Europe or America. Because black people are kind of getting brainwashed. It's typically only the African immigrants that are kind of like within, kind of closely knit in terms of societal groups. Americanized black women, and even, you know, I think it's the first generation of African immigrants that are very tightly knit. But as you go generation to generation down the line, I think black people are going to start to disappear and become smaller and smaller in number and become a permanent underclass in society. And I think we're very close to that happening. Black people are slowly going to become a permanent underclass, but women like Irene Yvette and Kristen and Karazin, they don't care. They only care about themselves. They only care about what they can do for themselves. And, you know, I don't think that's typically a bad thing, but, you know, I just think it's hypocrisy at the highest level. And of course, you know, the thing is about blackmail and hatred on YouTube, it sells. It's a product that sells. It's a product that a lot of people are willing to buy. And if there's a lot of demand in the market, then people are going to make videos about that because they feel that it's profitable for them to do that. And Cynthia G's making, you know, decent money on YouTube, and she's a blackmail hater. And there's a lot of black women out there that are kind of frustrated with how, you know, they haven't really gotten the men that they wanted, and they kind of had to settle for a white man, and they're not happy. They're not happy with how their situation is playing out. Do you think Cynthia G is happy with her life? She sits there on YouTube talking about black men day in, day out. That typically means that she kind of wants and yearns for black men, but she doesn't get the cream of the crop. She's stuck with the dirty, lowest of the low white man. She can't get the corporate white men that wear suits and go to kill it in Wall Street. No, they're not getting the cream of the crop white man. Typically, if black women get a white man that's, you know, somewhat has a standing in society, they have to be a millionaire or they have to have millions and millions of dollars. Just take a look at Serena Williams, for example. Alexis Ohanian has $10 million and Serena Williams has $300 million. Let's kind of look at the earning potential there. Black women are willing to settle for less with black men, but with white men, they are willing to go to the ends of the earth. And that's what I've kind of observed on YouTube.